TSUKIHINA, Vampire HAIKYUU, Part 6. Are you ready for tonight, Shoyo? It's finally hunting night. Toru and Hajime has been waiting for this. They've been holding their bloodthirst for so long already. Oftentimes, they hunt together. I schedule mine with Tadashi. That'd probably be in a few more days. Daichi of course gets to have it with Sugawara. Tadashi and I will be tagging along tonight though, just to make sure the flirt couple are safe. Most likely they'll either be flirting with each other or be fighting with each other over their prey. That's Toru and Hajime for you. They can be all over each other 1 second and be fighting each other the next. But I'm betting they'll fight, even to the end of immortality, if anyone else lays a hand on the other. You'll definitely hear a soft growl from either of them if someone else makes the other irritated. Their love for each other is just over the top. They wouldn't admit that they love each other that much though. They would always say they bit each other just for the fun of it. But I highly doubt it. Theirs was a matter of love at first sight, I would say. They never left each other's side ever since they met. I envy them really. I thought of Shoyo. What he said last night haunts me every time my mind went blank. Even when I'm doing random things, like that when I was talking to Tadashi earlier today about when to have the next weaponry training, it just pops uninvitedly into my head. Mine. He said that while deep in slumber. Would that actually mean something? Anything? My gaze instinctively sought for Shoyo. He came with us. He wanted to see how vampires go through this phase that he immediately agreed to coming with us when Tadashi asked him this morning. To my surprise, Daichi and Sugawara thought it would be good for Shoyo, so it was a go. And since Tobio wouldn't let Shoyo off his sight, he's with us too. He's once again beside Shoyo. I've gotten used to them being together all the time. But it doesn't change the fact that I'm jealous. And I hate it. Why can't he just freaking stay away from Shoyo? If only he wasn't that much of a support system for Shoyo, I would have already looked for a way to prevent him from joining us tonight. I was staying behind the group, just to make sure everyone's guarded behind. Tadashi was at the forefront, the flirt couple behind him. I'm so excited for you, Chibi-chan. Shoyo tilted his head, slightly confused with the name he was called. Chibi-chan. I managed a chuckle and had to answer Shoyo since Toru was now speaking again with Hajime. He likes you. That's why he gave you a nickname. Oh, I see. Good to know. Toru, as if eavesdropping in my small talk with Shoyo, gets back to Shoyo. You're cute, Chibi-chan. And Key's your future mate. So, I decided to give you a knee. My eyes widened as I heard Toru explain. Hajime was not as swift to cover Toru's mouth from spilling all that unnecessary information, as he should be at that time. I felt my entire body froze too. If we were on training right now, I would have shot an arrow right through Toru's heart. Excuse me, mate. Tadashi's chuckle up front made it even worse. And worst when Tobio cleared his throat and spoke from beside Shoyo. Shoyo, you might want to stay close to me during the hunt. I didn't know you have a suitor with us tonight. And another chuckle from Tadashi. I stared at Toru, probably with the most serious look I can ever give him. What? He shrugged as Hajime forcefully moved Toru's head to face front again. They were both fidgeting with each other quietly. Tobio's arm was around Shoyo's shoulder. I couldn't make out what they were conversing about. But Tobio was whispering to Shoyo's ear just before Shoyo leaned closer to Tobio. My thoughts lingered on the idea of tearing these two apart and kissing Shoyo right in front of Tobio. Drastic, but yeah, that thought may probably come true in the future. I smirked absent-mindedly at the thought. Then I noticed Hajime and Toru shift their heads to the right at the same time. They found their prey. The couple were gone in an instant. Tadashi looked at me and I nodded. He was gone too, following the flirts. I stayed, thinking about how Tobio and Shoyo will catch up. Tobio shifted to his wolf form once again in front of my eyes. Shoyo climbed the raven wolf's back and held on. We'll be fine, Kay. We'll follow your scent. I understood fully that both Tobio and Shoyo will be able to follow, so I ran to where my three friends headed. I made sure to keep track of Tobio and Shoyo's scents from behind me. Tobio may not be as swift as vampires, but he sure is fast too. I halted beside Tadashi, who looked tensed, probably trying to suppress the urge of taking the prey to himself. You think we should schedule our hunt this week too? You look like you need it bad. He kept quiet. No answer. You can join Toru and Hajime if you think you need it now. I can hunt on my own next week. I added. Tadashi is a pure blood. Naturally, he would thirst for blood more than us. But he tries his best to keep up with the rest of us. He tries to hold on to his thirst as much as he can. There are even times when his eyes would turn gold just because his body can't control his thirst anymore. He gets angry with himself when he gets a hard time controlling the thirst for blood. He would never quench his thirst before me. We always do it together. No, we'll do it together next week. His voice was stern. If he were to face me right now, I would bet his eyes are turning gold. You might want to head back home. No. Just as I placed my hand on his shoulder, he faced me. As expected, his fangs showed, eyes were madly gold. Just then, Shoyo and Tobio arrived. Tobio must have shifted back to his human form a few feet from our location. He was walking beside Shoyo as they came nearer. I gestured for them to lower themselves so as not to disturb Toru and Hajime while focusing on their prey. I noticed Tadashi shy away when he saw the two. I'll roam around a little. Need to tame myself. You sure? We can head back now if you want. No, watch the flirts. I'll be back in a few. His eyes were closed as he said that, but opened to look at me as he finished. All I had to do was nod and he was out of sight. It did not take a couple of seconds before I heard Shoyo's confused voice. Is he okay? His eyes were gold. His fangs were showing when he looked at you when we got here. His eyes were brown this morning. I nodded. If you look closely at Toru and Hajime now, you'll notice their eyes are black. Remembering that Tadashi left the two bloodthirsty vampires to me, my eyes went back to them. The two were ready to pounce on their preys, two well-built deers, but were holding back a little bit more to ensure that they would not be able to run away. I continued, Tobio and Shoyo now eyeing Toru and Hajime. Vampire eyes are black when they are over the top bloodthirsty. Okay, but what's the deal with Tadashi's golden eyes? Tadashi's trying to stop himself from taking on the deers ahead of Toru and Hajime. He's pure blood, so seeing what's happening is hard for him. This really happens with him sometimes, but he manages so you don't have to worry about him. Tobio's body was facing the way Tadashi headed, I noticed. My eyes went back to Toru and Hajime just in time to see them start on their preys. They've done this multiple times. My attention went back to Shoyo. His eyes were fixed on Toru and Hajime, his mouth dropping open. Are you up for this, Shoyo? Managing to close his open mouth. He only manages to nod as an answer with his eyes still on Toru and Hajime. I could see his eyes turn a hue darker, but not to the extent of turning black. Tadashi and I will be scheduling our hunt in a few days. Care to join us? You have to give me a run through though. I have no idea where to bite and for how long. I'll teach you if you decide to do it yourself. Thanks. Are you sure Tadashi's fine on his own? Does it really take that long for you to die your thirst down? He'll be back by the time Toru and Hajime are done. I'll just check on him, okay? I'll get back to you both. Just stay here. I immediately headed to Toru and Hajime. Judging by the rise and fall of their prey's breathing, Toru and Hajime are almost done. I tapped on both their shoulders and they released from their prey at the same time, panting. Happy now, I said as both of them gently laid their preys on the ground. Refreshed? Yeah, would have been better if we had wolves. Wolves are rare here, you know the Toru. Just be glad we didn't have a hard time tonight. I would probably have gone mad if we delayed this hunt for even a few hours. Toru shrugged. You would have preferred wolves, huh? Probably not while we have Shoyo and the rest, Toru. My eyes went back to where I sat before. I could see Tobio still standing there, staring where Tadashi headed when he left. But Shoyo, he's not where I left him. I ran swiftly to get to Tobio. Do you know where Shoyo went? Huh. Tobio finally looked my way. Do you know where Shoyo went? Weren't you talking to him? I left to check on Toru and Hajime. I immediately sensed Toru and Hajime ran towards us. Chibi-chan's missing. Shit. I can't smell his scent. Do you? I tried to sniff around. When I got his scent, it was too faint. His scent is kinda different. But you can smell him. You know where he is. I was not sure, but I nodded. I faced Toru and Hajime. Stay here. Tadashi might come back where he left. We'll look for Shoyo. Everyone nodded. I wanted to run swiftly to where I could smell Shoyo's tangerine scent. But I didn't. I ran beside Tobio, who already shifted back to his wolf form. We were probably both worried for Shoyo. We have to do this together. By the looks of it, we were headed to the falls. Why does it always happen like this? Why do I always have to run to the falls to get to Shoyo? His scent is getting stronger. But it's really not as strong as I remember. The faint tangerine scent led us to the falls, but Shoyo was nowhere in sight. Just then, I heard cracking of dried leaves on the forest ground. Tobio must have heard it too, because he quickly faced the direction where the sound came from at the same time I did. From behind a tree that was about a few feet away, something white slowly came out. As if peeking, only its ear and eye came out to check on me and Tobio. I'm not sure what it is, but it definitely is an animal. Tobio, who was still in wolf form, was on edge, just like me. But this thing in front of us, hiding behind the tree, is not giving me a hint of worry. Maybe we should just let it be and look for Shoyo. The problem though is that I can't get my eyes off it. It's like how I felt this morning when Shoyo woke up beside me. Shoyo. I need to find Shoyo. I reminded myself. But my eyes were glued to it. Tobio eased up. I have no idea why. The white animal slowly moved away from the tree, now giving us a full view of its features. It was beautiful. I've never seen a wolf like it. Its fur was so white as snow, and the moonlight even made it look like it was gleaming. The wolf slowly walked towards us. Its walk was so smooth that it looked like it was royalty walking on a red carpet just before a speech. It's not as big as Tobio's wolf form, yet it looks intimidating. Tobio's head slowly tilted to the side. Do you know him? Tobio did not answer. He stared at the white wolf in front of him. The white wolf looked back. The only difference was that the white wolf looked like it was about to laugh at Tobio's reactions toward him. Maybe they could mind link too, even if they didn't know each other. Could that be possible? As I contemplated on how the white and raven wolves were acting with each other, Tobio's wolf form jumped. It excitedly jumped a few more before it ran to the white wolf in front. If they were humans, they would probably look like two childhood friends playing with each other after a long time of not seeing each other. A few seconds after this interaction, they stopped jumping around and the raven wolf nuzzled onto the white wolf. Care to fill me in with what's happening, Tobio? We need to find Shoyo. His scent is near, it's just different. I'm here, K. Shoyo's voice. He's mind-linking. I tried to answer back. Shoyo, where are you? I'm worried sick. Come back please. I heard a small giggle from him before he answered back. Look up front. My eyes went to the tree behind the wolves, but sensed no one was there. I looked at Tobio's wolf form, who parted from the white wolf, ending his nuzzling. Then at the white wolf, walking the same intimidating walk it did when it showed itself from behind the tree. It walked towards my direction. Its eyes were fixed on mine. I could just melt right where I was standing. I'm having a hard time breathing from its intensity that I had to give up standing. I sat in front of the white wolf, our eyes never leaving each other's gaze. Not as if I should worry about my breathing, since I'm already dead. I sensed Tobio shift back to his human form. Geez, let him breathe, Shoyo. The white wolf's eyes suddenly looked familiar. The same pretty eyes that I first saw this morning. Shoyo. Without me realizing, he's already shifted to his human form. His human face was once again a few inches from mine, smirking. Shoyo will be the death of me really, jeez. That was you. He nodded, looking pleased with himself. I thought you haven't shifted yet. Yup. First time tonight. My eyes fell on his lips once again. He's too close. But Tobio would probably kill me right here if I decide to even move a tad bit closer. Some other time. Not around Tobio. I decided to just hug him the tightest I can without breaking him. Don't ever leave me like that again, Shoyo.